A federal judge is ordering the federal government not to enforce a ban on asylum for those who are crossing the southern border illegally. U.S. District Judge John Tigar agreed Monday with those who sued the president after Trump issued a proclamation which said anyone who crossed the southern border between official ports of entry would be ineligible for asylum. The ruling will continue for 1 month pending an appeal. The Department of Justice says it will defend the president's decision. And for more on this, we turn to our political panel. Talk radio host and civil rights attorney Robert Patillo and Republican strategist and contributor at The Hill, Chris Neiweem. Gentlemen, welcome to you both. Robert, let's start with you. There are those who look at the judge's decision where he says the president may not rewrite immigration laws and ask, how is this different from President Obama issuing an executive order on DACA? And you may recall Obama for months said, I can't do that, and then he did it. So how does this differ?
Well, I think this doesn't differ. What this shows is that there has been an expansion in the perceived power of the presidency as the legislative branch has become recalcitrant, has not moved. We've seen presidents use more tools in their arsenal to try to execute policy which should lie in the hands of the legislature. What we really need to be working on is, one, instead of sending troops to the southern border, send judges and send lawyers to the southern borders to help people in the asylum process. And then, two, get a Congress in place that's willing to actually move the ball forward on immigration reform. We've been talking about this since the Reagan administration. I feel like at some point in time we're going to have to address this problem and hit it with, and reform it in a way that can actually affect people in a positive light and not simply kick the ball down the hill.
Chris, you want to weigh in on that?
Well, I would agree with Robert with the caveat that he should just be 100% pro-Trump then. I mean, administrations have ignored immigration because Republicans historically have wanted cheap foreign labor and Democrats have wanted votes. I mean, this is the first president that's really taken on this issue. And I think that the attorneys being involved in it turning into a business has been part of the problem to begin with. The president's constitutional role is to see that the laws are faithfully executed. The idea that judges are going to essentially try to inhibit the president from supporting our laws just makes you wonder kind of where these far-left activists went to law school.
And Chris, I mean, what about those who look at today's landscape and the caravan and say, it's not that unreasonable to have designated points of entry for people coming here from foreign countries seeking asylum?
It's absolutely correct. How many times has the president said that? It's essentially, we're going to have ports of entry. We have a process. You've got to come in legally. You can't just break the law. The president said something that people thought was bold, which was, Democrats are, soft on immigration and don't mind crime. And it's completely true, and it's getting a little pathetic, and I think that's why a lot of Democrats have lost some of these key elections.
Yeah, all right. Robert, I'd like your reaction to the way the mayor and some citizens of Tijuana, not Donald Trump, but the mayor of Tijuana have treated the Honduran immigrants who have reached their city, the mayor calling them a horde who have been infiltrated by criminals.
Well, I think we should not hold the President of the United States to the same level as the mayor of Tijuana, Mexico. I think we should have a president that's a little more diplomatic and that has more solutions-oriented than some mayor of some small town, some small border town. What I think this is an opportunity for is seeing these groups of people. One, let's look at the hegemonic power of the United States in the Western Hemisphere and what we can do to improve conditions for these individuals at home. Secondarily, let's see how we can reform our immigration and asylum system so that people can come in an orderly fashion. The people who do have valid claims of asylum be seen, be processed, and the people who deserve it be integrated into the country. The people who don't be sent back to where their country of origin. But more so, have a humane system in place. And the idea that judges should not be able to force the president to work within the constraints of Congress. We have three co-equal branches of government. We do not have a king. We do not have Charlemagne. We do not have an emperor. What we have is a co-equal branch of government that has to be accountable to the legislature and is constrained by the judiciary. Right. And so the judge is doing exactly what his constitutional order is to do.
Well, let's talk about the president. I'm glad you brought him up because we have news that just a little while ago, the White House put out a statement saying that the president has submitted his answers to Robert Mueller, the special counsel, of course, on the ongoing investigation into Russian influence or obstruction of justice or whatever the investigation is these days. The parameters have grown so far from the original mandate, I believe. So, Chris, where's this all going to end up? I mean, do you think that this will end the relationship, if you will, between Mueller and Trump, and now he's washed his hands, he's done his duty, and now it's the ball's in Mueller's court?
Well, I think that they have a Department of Justice has a fiduciary duty, or the special counsel, to really complete their work. I mean, I feel like at this point it's just, what are they looking at? All these resources are being spent. There's obviously been a lot of political charges inside those investigations, and so I would presume that I think they need to go ahead and finish their work. And one quick final thought on the last thing, I agree with Robert, but the Congress is the branch of government that's not doing its job.
Well, yeah, I don't want to get back to the immigration, but I just don't see Congress reaching any immigration deal for the foreseeable future. What about it, Robert, though, as far as Donald Trump submitting the written answers to the questions to Robert Mueller?
Well, I think it's the absolutely right thing to do for him. I think the White House lawyers who had concerns about the president being able to, wandering into a perjury trap, written answers probably is more clear and will provide the most information to the public. What's important for the United States is that people have confidence in their elections. People have confidence that their vote is what elects the people who lead our country, and that people no longer have these lingering questions. So I think we need to wrap this investigation up, come to whatever conclusions are necessary, and let's make sure that we have this system fixed for 2020.
All right, gentlemen, a pleasure. Thank you for weighing in, and thanks for being here today. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.